Hello everybody, I am Jeremy Miller and I'm here with Jen Carvalho and Joe Tinervin from Discovery Behavioral Health to talk about conscious recovery. Thank you both so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome. So I think where I'd like to start is with you, Jen, and if you could speak a little bit to what it was like to bring conscious recovery into the program and why you felt so drawn to do so.
Oh my gosh. I could talk about this all day, Jeremy. Seriously, conscious recovery has been such an exciting addition to the programs that we've onboarded it at. It's been a few years and I've used conscious recovery at 3 programs now with totally universal results, which is that our clinical team gets really excited about doing groups with conscious recovery, and the outcomes for our patients are fantastic. They absolutely love it. And I think the thing that was really telling for me was reading the patient satisfaction results, and without exception, it was positive regard, huge props for conscious recovery, and really powerful testimonials about how it had changed the trajectory of someone's recovery. So I've been to treatment 5 times. I've never experienced anything like this. I didn't know that this was possible. I've worked the steps. This is a fantastic addition. I mean, there were just so many powerful testimonials about the change that it had produced in people. And so, I get really excited talking about it because when you see that type of transformation, it's very impactful.
That's amazing. And one of the things I wanted to ask you, Jen, was early on, when you heard about conscious recovery, what really drew you to bringing it into the camp in Azure Acres?
So TJ Woodward and I share a spiritual philosophy. And so when he and I met to talk about conscious recovery, it was just an instant awareness that this is what propelled my own recovery. And that this was such an amazing addition to the 12 steps that it would benefit anyone who was on the recovery journey. So it wasn't specific to any drug, it wasn't specific simply to substance abuse. It was a powerful healing tool, and I recognized that immediately in the material. And so it felt so personal, and it felt so universal at the same time.
Amazing. Joe, we'll kick it to you now.
Okay.
I'm curious, as one of the VPs of Discovery Behavioral Health, leading the SUD division, what was your motivation in integrating conscious recovery into all these substance use programs?
It's a great question. I think the vision was really something that kind of came from Jen, to be honest with you. Jen and I used to work together in a previous life, so you mentioned camp and Azure Acres. We worked together during that period of time. I saw the positive effect of conscious recovery at those facilities. And so now that we're with Discovery Behavioral Health, the opportunity was there for us to do something different. As an executive, but also with having a clinical background, I look at this in a couple different ways. The clinician in me recognizes the therapeutic value of conscious recovery. I love the principles. I love the foundational aspect of it. I love the different spin it puts on treatment, that we're not just treating addiction, we're digging underneath and really trying to get into the underlying causes behind the addictive behavior. And really discover that. But the executive side of me thinks of this as a differentiator in the marketplace. This idea of being an early adopter and being one of the few programs out there that actually does conscious recovery, it will give us a competing edge in the marketplace. The other part of it too is that it gives our clinicians more to work with. Being a former clinician myself, I can remember those busy days where you got a million things going on, you got a crisis over here, you got a new admission over here, and then, time to run a group. And, any group facilitator will tell you that it's always a better group if you walk in there with a plan. 9 times out of 10, you're going to deviate from that plan, but it gives you so much more confidence and reassurance to walk in there with your plan. And I think that's what conscious recovery provides. You're under a lot of time pressure, a lot of time constraints. You need to get in there and run your group. Boom, you grab your workbook and you're good to go. and you can run your group, and you have a foundation to rely on so you can do what you got to do.
Yeah.
So I want to equip our clinicians and our staff with the ability to have that, to have those weapons at their disposal, to be able to run programming and do what they got to do in a very busy, intense environment.
Fantastic.
I think the other part too is I think about it from a utilization review standpoint. You know, we're constantly trying to provide good information and substantiation for continued days to keep people in treatment as long as we can. And I think conscious recovery provides us with more material, more information to really have our clients dig deeper into their treatment episode, and for us to be able to incorporate that into the treatment plan, which comes up in our concurrent reviews. And my sense is that we're going to have higher authorization rates, and we're going to have clients in treatment longer because of this curriculum, and being able to substantiate, okay, here's phase 1, 2, 3, so that we're not just doing the same thing from week to week. It's new, it's exciting, it's innovative, and it matches the progress that the patient's making in treatment during their treatment episode.
Beautiful. And so Jen, what I want to ask you about on that is working with clinicians as a CEO, having been a group facilitator for a long time, I definitely know the struggle of handling crises and trying to run into a group. And so with your staff, what has the impact been of having the curriculum at their disposal?
Well, it's been really fantastic. So the clinicians who were actively trained with TJ when he came to Casa Palmera just love it and have adopted it so readily. And they're so enthusiastic about it that the rest of the clinical team is now clamoring for more training, right? They're just like, when can we have TJ back? And when can we do more? And we're really excited about the digital products so that, you know, so our team has access to his reassurance, his guidance, kind of, you know, whatever, that step-by-step, walking you through the program. They're really excited about that. I think that for them, as Joe said, it's another tool in their tool belt, and we want to give them all the tools that they can possibly have to work with our patients, our clients. I know that they're, I think that they gain a lot of satisfaction when the patients visibly and emotionally react to the program, and that's something that is very satisfying for them, and you know, it feels like they're making progress in a way that maybe you're not in other ways. And so it's been really fulfilling, I think, for our clinical department. And so I see it expanding within the services we provide. We're going to use it in all levels of care. We have discharge planners engaged in that. We've got our admissions people speaking that language. You know, this isn't simply a clinical program. This isn't a modality that we're, you know, touting. This is really kind of a cultural expansion, and so it's something that we're working with throughout our organization. And so while I love to talk about the clinical impact of it, it really is, it's a cultural impact. You know, it's about adopting this new language, and I think that's, you know, that's what makes it so special and unique.
That's beautiful, and one of the visions that we've long held is that it becomes a way to unify the entire team at a facility. So Joe, in your experience traveling around to all the different discovery programs, have you noticed a unifying element behind conscious recovery with the teams?
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, here we are now at New Hope Ranch, right?
Yeah.
And yesterday the group had training, and I was just happened to be there when they were all coming out of the room, and you could see it. You could see it in their faces how gratifying the experience was. And you could tell that they just kind of put it all out there. You know, it wasn't just learning about a curriculum, it was also learning about themselves and each other as a group and as a team. And so it felt like there was like a lot of bonding happening in there. And you could also tell that the staff were really satisfied with gaining some new knowledge. You know, like you said, more tools for their toolbox. So I saw that here. I saw it at Pinelands back in Medford, New Jersey. You know, checking in every time you guys make a stop on the circuit tour. I check in with everybody to see how it went, and it's you know unanimously across the board positive. The staff really enjoy having more at their disposal for running programming. They enjoy a different spin on what we do, something fresh, something different, something unique. And you know, we're looking forward to you guys getting out to our other programs. I think you're going to be at Cliffside Malibu next week, and Authentic Recovery Center. So It's super fun. You know, the other part that I like about this is that since we're doing this as a division, all 8 programs within our division will be familiar with conscious recovery. So, you know, you got somebody in New Jersey, they could go out to California and they could run a conscious recovery group, and it would be seamless. It would just be like, you know, like regular routine, regardless of where you are in the country. So I just love the idea of that camaraderie, and for them to be able to consult with each other, share best practices with each other, support each other. It's not just specific to one facility, it's our entire division.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And so a question for both of you would be, what is it like integrating the curriculum? Because all the programs have an established curriculum and groups and things like that. So what's it like to bring on the conscious recovery curriculum and integrate it into the program?
You know, it's been an interesting integration, having done it at 3 different facilities. So I feel like I've had a little bit more of a global view of that. You know, kind of a little bit different clinical philosophy at each program. And I can say that in our program that was most devoutly 12-step, you know, really fundamentally 60-year-old program that is 12-step foundational, I think that bringing conscious recovery in was a decision to expand our awareness of what is possible in substance use disorder treatment. It was simply that. It was opening ourselves up to the concept of there being other tools for us. And as I said, you know, as a woman in recovery, those 12 steps are absolutely foundational. I would never want to take away from or divert from the energy and the experience that that provides. But conscious recovery was such a wonderful addition to and could be used concurrently, and it was non-threatening in a way that some other modalities can be. And so it was just such a beautiful integration at that facility. You know, and if you kind of swing the pendulum to Casa Palmera, where we are, where we have, you know, really deep clinical bench strength and a lot of different clinical philosophies, and, you know, everything from trauma to SUD, you know, alcohol and other drug specific. You know, there were so many different philosophies, and it was like, okay, are we just going to add another one here? But no, it wasn't. What it is again, it's that comprehensive kind of global philosophy that can imbue anything that you're doing. And so it's about speaking that language and about, you know, carrying those concepts into all the groups that you're doing, into all the work that you're doing with patients and clients. I think that, you know, the integration has been just as powerful in a different way. And so I really feel strongly that it is about a cultural adoption, and that it's not just another group to be run. It's much more powerful than that. You know, if you're just doing groups with it, it's kind of like you're using the 5% of your brain that you can access. You know, it's much more powerful than that. So it's been pretty amazing, honestly.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Well, I just kind of want to piggyback on what you were saying a little bit in relation to your question.
Sure.
I think, you know, what it does is it augments, you know, the foundation that already exists, you know, and I have a unique perspective on this because we're in a growth mode as a company. And so our division specifically, we've grown from a division of 2 programs to 8 in about a year and a half. And with every new acquisition, there's a lot of fear and anxiety to kind of work through. And usually the number one fear is oh my gosh, you're just going to bring in all your own people and we're all going to lose our jobs and you're going to run things the Discovery way. And that's not the case. It's never the case. But we have to go in there and reassure folks that that's the case, and then they get to believe it by seeing it and experiencing it. But the reason why we acquire the programs that we do is because we already love who they are now, not who we hope they would be or who we want them to be.
Right.
And so the foundational, the foundation of these facilities that we acquire, all their traditions, all the things that they've been doing for, in many cases, 30, 40 years, is what we want to still be happening. We would never take that away from these facilities. We just want to add to it. We just want to augment, what they're doing, and that's where I see conscious recovery coming in, right? Like, we got Pinelands, which has a solid foundation and a core curriculum, and this is something else for them to try. It doesn't mean that you have to do this now and you don't get to do what you were doing before. It's not cut and dry like that. This is just another thing that we're adding in to augment the program overall and to really enhance the patient experience, and also to give our staff and our clinicians some confidence too. I always think of like, this idea of like public speaking, it's a nerve-wracking experience. The one thing that makes it easier is how knowledgeable you are on the subject area. And so that's what we're doing for our staff, is we're making them smarter. We're equipping them with the ability to have higher confidence to do their jobs. I mean, that's the feedback I get from our staff all the time, is we just need the resources to be equipped with the resources to do our job.
Yeah.
And we'll take it from there, Joe.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're doing. It's like, we're giving you more here. Take it, run with it, make it your own. It works at residential level of care, outpatient level of care, across the entire continuum. And so far, so good.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for your time. We're thrilled that we got to partner with Discovery Behavioral Health, as like Jen, you're one of our earliest adopters, and Joe, for making it company-wide. We are so thrilled to partner with both of you, and we're really excited for what's next.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks.
Thank you.